How to use anti-gravity AI, complete anti-gravity tutorial. So guys, standard grid-locked user interfaces are a relic of low compute environments. In an era of high-performance hardware and neural engine-driven browsers, your workspace doesn't have to be static. Today, we are diving deep into the Google Antigravity environment, originally a Chrome experiment that has evolved into a masterclass for understanding browser-based physics engines. We're moving past the trick and looking at how to manipulate the zero-G matrix and even use AI to script your own gravity-defying UI components. If you're running an RTX tier rig, you're about to see exactly what your browser's physics processing can actually do. Okay, so to begin, we need to firstly bypass the standard Google search algorithm, which suppresses non-static layouts, navigate to a browser instance, and search for Google Space. There you go. And then you can just go ahead and launch the instance by the Dr. Doob, by the Mr. Doob. This is the most stable repository of the master.js physics engine integration. And once it loads, you will see that the UI remains static until the first mouse interaction. This is the initialization trigger. So move your cursor anywhere on the screen to break the gravity lock. The search bar, buttons, and logo are now live physics objects. They aren't just images, they are individual bodies with mass, friction, and restitution values defined in the background script. And manipulation in this environment is purely kinetic. You can grab any UI element, the search button, the images link, and throw it. The engine calculates the velocity based on your mouse drag speed. So let me just fiddle around, take this, whatever this is, a stick, and as you can see I can just grab it with my mouse and turn it into a spinning wheel, and then throw it away. But also there's a professional power user move. The search bar is still functional. You can type a query into the floating bar and hit enter. So let us see, what do we have? There you go, there's the search bar. Okay, let us actually pin it to the top so we can actually kind of look at it. And there you go, as you can see, I can just type in Google Antigravity, and then I can just search as well, and it's going to search this query. Then also the engine will call the Google API, fetch results, and inject new physics bodies into the zero-G space. Every search result becomes a new object that can collide with existing elements. This is the perfect environment for stress testing your browser's ability to handle high-frequency collision detection across hundreds of DOM elements simultaneously. So we can just press search, which is this one. This little button, as you can see, that kind of escaped from us. Okay guys, so when you're ready to start working, we can just break down the interface so you don't get lost. So go ahead and grab the latest release, which can be downloaded by this button, install it, and then you'll be taken to the actual interface. So first you have the Anti-Gravity Control Center. This is your high-level dashboard where you manage project permissions, view active cron structures, look over background task schedules, and monitor active AI operations across completely different branches. Second, also as you can see with this button here, we also have Anti-Gravity IDE. This is a heavily optimized native fork of VS Code, engineered to support our deep AI automation directly inside your codebase layouts. On your side screen, you have access to the model picker dropdown. For complex logical structures or writing full backend pipelines, we are locking the system configuration into deep reasoning engines like Claude Sonnet or Gemini Pro. This gives the system access to an expansive token context window to parse and understand your code holistically, rather than just reading isolated files. And the single biggest advantage of this platform over regular command line tools is its multi-agent execution pipeline. In legacy systems, you have to wait for the AI to finish one file rewrite before you can prompt it with the next issue. Inside the Antigravity Manager console, you can spawn up to 5 completely autonomous developer agents working simultaneously in parallel. This means you can assign Agent 1 to handle database migrations and structure your SQL schemas, Agent 2 to implement secure authentication, and Agent 3 to build out the responsive front-end login views, all at the exact same time. So each agent initializes its own virtual workspace sandbox branch. They do not step on each other's toes, collide with your active workspace code, or lock up your primary text editor while processing. You are acting as a lead software architect, managing the entire digital engineering team directly from your sidebar. Alright guys, and to install IDE, just press on this button right here. Okay, and then just let this download. Let's wait. That's going to be for coding. I'll talk about that in the next video. So let us look at the interface layout so you can exactly know and understand how to navigate. So look at the screen right now. This is the official dark-themed anti-gravity control center. You can do a quick virtual tour of the interface blocks so you know what everything does. So on the left, you have your project pane and your conversation history. This tracks your active coding threads. For instance, you can see the ongoing, as you can see, I have this JWT authentication. This is just something I've done previously. You can also look at the absolute center, and this is your core command console. Notice the drop-down menu that reads Claude Sonnet. This is the advanced AI reasoning model selected to run the specific environment. Unlike standard models, the thinking version actively maps out a full logical plan in the background before it edits your files, helping it avoid common developer mistakes. And then finally, shift your focus to the top right corner of the window, and you will see the IDE, so we'll talk about that later. So now that you know the map, let's actually launch our first automated build. So look at the onboarding pop-up sitting at the bottom right corner. Before an AI can read or write code, it needs a designated sandbox boundary so it knows what files it is allowed to touch. So let us just create a project, new conversation, choose here, new project, and then choose and add a folder, and then click on next. Let's choose the agent as default, project name, and start the first conversation. And now we can just type in our high-level project requirement into the central command box. For example, you can use this kind of prompt or something similar and then press on send. Then when you hit enter, Antigravity doesn't just print lines of code into a text bubble, it initializes an autonomous background software engineering agent. The agent scans your project folder, checks if you are using specialized styling frameworks like Tailwind, and maps out an explicit step-by-step assembly outline for your approval. Then, once you look over the agent's plan and click Approve, the system shifts into the raw deployment mode. If you install the IDE, you will literally watch the files open themselves and see lines of code type themselves out across your display. Right, so what happens if the AI makes a typo or uses an outdated layout rule? In a traditional setup, you wouldn't know until you manually ran the server and loaded it yourself. Antigravity fixes this by deploying a secondary browser subagent. The moment the code changes are written to your files, the platform silently fires up your local development server in the background, opens an isolated profile instance of Google Chrome, and physically clicks through your newly created navigation links. It actively tests the layout structure, captures before and after screenshots, and compiles a clean verification log confirming that your layout is completely functional and error-free before handling the controls back to you. And after that, guys, as you can see, this is going to be your result. Then you can just click on the review button, review, and of course look at the entire code. If anything looks wrong, then you can just of course edit whatever you desire, and then save or of course edit further. And that's it for this video, guys. If you're looking forward to understanding how to code and use IDE, make sure to watch our next videos. Otherwise, for this one, thank you for watching.